Them days, I guess. As Fred Durst said, when you don't want to wake up. And I can't say any more than that because it's Limp Bizkit, but you get the point. Life has elected today, on Wednesday, May 25th, to plant its foot squarely against my backside.
I think I only know like one Limp Bizkit song, so, that's it. I'm just,
I can get you there, buddy. I can help you do better with your life if you want.
So this would make me a better person if I knew more Limp Bizkit?
Make you a happier person.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because that's what I need.
Yeah. I do this morning. My goodness. What an absolute boat day so far for Rob Brown.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not that chair. Because you went at that chair. Like, get out of my way, chair.
Well,
Stupid chair.
You wake up. Today, I don't feel great as it is, all right? Little TMI in the world, but some digestive issues in battling Rob Brown's sleep habits last night. Let's just leave it there.
So there's a chance you could get up and leave the room just at some point.
The words, Lonzo, we need to go to break right now, may happen at some point.
Or I could just stay on the air and explain what you're doing.
That's absolutely fair. Call play-by-play if you want. Let's get weird. Leave for work. I get onto the interstate when I remember, oh, dude, the needle is below empty now. And I'm already on the interstate at this point. So then you got to make the decision, do I hammer the gas to get to the next exit? Or do I kind of throw it in neutral on top of hills and hope I can coast there? Good luck, make the guess. Then I get there, remember that gas is $4.20, bro. A gallon? Have to pay for a full tank of gas. Then I get to work, and I'm like, you know what? I'm in my comfort zone here, man. I'm in my comfort zone. I'm in my happy place. I get to work with Lonzo. I get to talk about football and make money for it. I'm in my happy place. And over walks Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall, who at this point, I can only suspect has some sort of voodoo control over the negative aspects of my life.
It's a shirt, man. That looks voodoo to me.
I don't know what it is. But Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall, pops his head into the office, and he's like, hey, man, what's up? And I'm like, hey, buddy, listen to this thing I'm going to play for Lonzo later because it makes me laugh. See? Push those books that the monitor's on, Chris. Push them flush against that. There we go. Fingers crossed one of these will do it. Now Chris is knocking my glass down. By the way, this can go, right? We can be done with this because this once a week. Anyway, Chris pops his head in the door because I got a funny clip to show him that I'm going to play on the radio later. Play it for him. And then I'm like, oh, dude, show starts in like 4 minutes. I should probably get in there.
Indeed.
So I go to pick up my big Yeti with my drink in it. And do I pick it up? No. Do I punch it over? Yes. Does the Yeti, designed to keep the lid attached, does the lid stay attached? No. Does the drink stay in the cup? No. Where does 80%, and by the way, I buy the big monsters, all right? This is not one of your little 12 ounces. This is the big 24 bad boy.
That's because he's a man.
And I'm 40. I punch the Yeti. The Yeti falls onto the desk. The top, as it is definitely designed not to do, pops off. And 80% of a 24-ounce Yeti ends up all across my desk, across my papers, across my receipts, across my schedule, across everything. Fortunately, nothing electronic, but across all my stuff. And what does Chris do but go, that seems like a you problem, and walks away. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Did you stand less close to me? Because I'm terrified of you right now.
Well, the issue, I'm trying to be on your camera.
Well, the other thing is he's now completely indoctrinated into engineering department because that's exactly what an engineer would say.
Well, I also observed that he was lucky enough to have that happen in front of an engineer.
Yeah, I have been here 2 years, April, May, and almost 3 months at this point. All right? 5 days, it'll be 2 years and 3 months. 2 years and 3 months. Have not spilled a drop in any building in this or any room in this building. And then Chris is standing there next to me when I decide to punch my Yeti as if it was trying to rob me and dump half a monster onto my desk next to my computer, but I stopped it. And then out of panic mode, I just start like scraping it towards me. Like it's gonna be on the carpet, and my office is gonna, sorry, Lonzo, our office is gonna smell like monster for about a week.
Let's face it, it's probably an improvement. So, I mean, there's that.
He's not wrong.
The monster air freshener.
Yeah, he's not wrong. And Chris goes, there's a trash can. And my head goes, yeah, I'll throw everything away when I'm done, Chris. Let me get it off the desk. And then he's like, well,
put the liquid into the trash.
Yeah, that's
can.
what he meant.
Okay.
That's what he meant.
I was trying to help.
I appreciate it. He did an excellent job of helping, leaning with his arms crossed against the door like he was watching the comedy of a lifetime.
I gave you excellent advice.
As long as he was smiling.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing this with you today, Captain America. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Why did Chris move away? Is he afraid that you might,
No, this section of the Chris Evans comedy hour has come to its close, I guess.
I just wanted to be out of arm's reach. The issue over here, by the way, this plexiglass, which I agree, I think could probably go at this point, and I'll make a point to remove.
Well,
it
if you look closer,
after
it's becoming a hazard because
No,
of
I
just I want to. If we want to use that as
Bring
the
a
reason.
hazmat suit if you need to
definite
move it.
view obstruction.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not what I'm talking about.
It's
You need to look at
leaning
all
up.
that stuff that's on
I
it,
was trying to join you on mic 4 to maintain the
but it's pushed
distance.
against the button.
This glass is leaning up against the off button.
Correct.
So it doesn't work right now.
Correct.
Yeah, I tried to turn it on a couple times and it went off, and I'm like, okay, thing's against the button. So.
Correct. What an absolute day.
I am also in here for official reasons. I have to write some things down on the log here. So,
Hey, what do you think about that segment I'm going to do with Lonzo later that I played for you? How's that going to go over for us?
You're the radio professional here. I think that's your call.
Yeah, well, you worked with Lonzo much longer than me. How's that going to go over for me?
It's a good thing, not to give too much away, but it's a good thing that the audio is already edited.
No, I did that.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
and that's
Gotcha.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you hadn't, then I could predict how the segment would.
I kind of want to do it now.
No.
You want to do it while I hang? You want to do it while you're in
Well,
here?
sure, go
Yeah?
ahead. Yeah.
Lonzo, do me a favor. Go into the folder, and there, go into the folder, and there is. I want to say it's clip 3, but it's Joe Kelly. It's called Joe Kelly Fries the Producer's Brain. Joe Kelly is a pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. I'm doing this earlier in the show because I like Chris and I want him to get to enjoy this moment with us. Joe Kelly is a pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. And 2 nights ago, they were playing the New York Yankees, or 3 nights ago. I don't remember what it was, but the last game of the series against the Yankees. And while he was there pitching, on second base was Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks got himself a leadoff of second base. Now, if you've never been a pitcher, second base is the hardest base to put a pickoff move on, right? Like, it's hard to pick off a guy on second base because regardless of being left or right-handed.
We are talking about baseball. Right?
Correct.
I'm just making sure.
Correct.
Because some of the things you said, okay.
Correct.
Need a clarification.
So you got a guy on second base. It's the hardest base to throw a pickoff move at, right? Because whether you're left or right-handed, you've got to spin all the way around to get your throwing arm aimed at second base. So you very rarely see a guy get picked off on second base. Aaron Hicks is on second base. Joe Kelly, who, by the way, used to play for the Dodgers, huge boat talker, all right? Talks immense amount of boat. It's just his thing. He throws Aaron Hicks out at second because Hicks had such a lead that when Joe Kelly turned, he did not have time to get back. So he gets picked off on second. And Joe Kelly had some words for Aaron Hicks, who was, as Joe Kelly described it, demoralized. Well, the next day, Joe Kelly joined a morning show in Chi-Town, Illinois. He decided to jump on the local morning sports talk radio show. And I will tell you that this show is a little more, shall we say, morning zoo than us. Kelly was on.
Wait. Is that even possible?
Oh, dramatically possible.
Okay. All right.
Lonzo, I am a saint for you compared to some of the hosts I've heard in other markets. All right? An absolute saint. Chris is coming over here to agree with me. All right? So, he's in studio, Joe Kelly is, a couple of days ago on 670 The Score in Chicago with Danny Parkins and Matt Spiegel. And Joe Kelly was asked about this story. Now, I want to have some fun here, Lonzo. I want to, if you would like to do so, I'd like you to play a round of Hold Up. All right? Now, the game is, as we play sound, Lonzo at any point can say Hold Up, but what I want you to do, Zoe, is I want you to offer me your thoughts as a producer as to how you'd handle this situation. Because remember, Joe Kelly is in studio. He's staring the producers in the face.
All right. I hate to correct the host, but executive producer, if you will.
Executive producer. How would you executively produce this segment? So a little round of Hold Up, where Lonzo's going to tell us if he is the executive producer in charge of this interview with Joe Kelly, who is in the studio and staring him in the face. How would you handle this situation? The floor is yours, Zoe.
We have bets off air on how many times we're going to make you so comfortable that you're going to curse.
I didn't even think about it.
That's exactly right.
That's how it works.
Speaking of not thinking about it, the hell's that guy doing on second base last night? You forget the pickoffs are allowed?
Bro, do you know what?
Aaron Hicks.
So that looks like, a super try-hard effort to me. For one, the game's close.
Okay, hold up. Can we start with the fact that Joe Kelly called it a, quote, super try-hard moment, end quote?
Okay, so are you expecting an athlete to be articulate to the point where you're using complete sentences
No.
and things like that?
Try hard is a nerd video game way of saying you're not that good, right? Like try hard is how when I call people tryhards on Call of Duty when I want to insult them.
All right,
the
so
fact
this
that
is
Joe Kelly went video game term on me.
All right, so this is a multiplayer game term.
Yeah,
that's
try
why
hard.
that's why I don't. I apologize. I'm not giving
that's
up
all
a
good. You don't play
nerd
multiplayer
card
games.
because I don't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't play multiplayer.
Yeah, like when you're
I play games to get away from people.
when you're in a map and it's multiplayer and you got that one guy who's like this guy, that guy's a tryhard, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
what's this? I mean, you the guy that's going everywhere, and
mind,
he's.
keep- yeah, never mind, keep
I'm
going.
just. I'm sorry. Okay.
all right, keep going.
I'm not trying to ruin the bit.
No,
I
it's
really,
okay.
I really didn't know.
Listen, everything about this day has been ruined since I got out of bed. Don't worry about it.
Number two, you're struggling at the plate. You're struggling for the fans to like you.
Yeah.
Like some people like let that bother him. Like, oh well, just still play our game. But he tried to go outside the box and try to make something happen, for like to totally redeem himself, and then it kind of backfired. So I mean, I was coming set, and Jay Hayes was like, "Step off," and I was like, "Oh." So then I turn and I throw, and I was like, "All right, well, I beat him by a mile." So I was like, "Just get it in the lane because Jay Hayes got to go glove. Like if it bounces, whatever, just don't throw it high. Give him time." And so Jay puts a tag down, and I could see Aaron's face just demoralized. And where's that button at?
All right, hold up. Lonzo, he has just said to the executive producer, "Where's that button at?" What's in your head right now?
Well, I mean, you talked about that show and how it's a little more lenient than what I would be. So how bad could it be that he's asking about where the button is? So if this show is already letting things go, it must be pretty bad.
Let's see where he decides to go with
I
it, shall we?
guarantee you it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. Chris was there for the worst thing. So,
You're good.
I was like, "Get a baby, Aaron. What the are you doing?" I said, "Way to go." I said, you're such a stud, that a baby. And I just let it rip because I just dumb ever, you know what I mean? Like just play your game. Don't press.
All right, we do have to ask you to think about the cursing thing just every once in a while.
I guess I did.
Yeah.
I guess I did. I thought yeah.
all right, hold up. So good job. I mean, you jumped in there and I recognize the nervousness. Absolutely recognize it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly almost to the letter what I would have said with the nervousness and, and also probably a little bit of glaring because not that I could intimidate a Major League Baseball player, but I would at least attempt it. Like, dude, don't make me mad, type of thing.
So
Sometimes it works.
the first effort from you is a very polite, I do have to ask you to watch the cursing, please.
Yes, I'll do the nervous thing, but there will be a little bit of a glare going on
All right.
while we're doing it.
I got it. You're going to stare down one of the baddest closers in baseball. I got it. Let's keep going.
You know who I am?
Heard.
Yeah.
Everyone, the Sheets, Rifle, they're like, bro, what were you ripping him for? I said he was a stud. I said, way to go, nice play. Like yelling at him.
That a baby.
That a baby. I said, what the are you doing?
I told him not to. It's so great though.
So you were absolutely telling him that a baby.
That a baby, way to go.
Brilliant man.
Thanks for the out.
Yeah. What the hell? I love that you have the presence of mind to taunt a dude and just be in the moment
taunting,
right there.
It's like, I mean, they do it in the NBA every time you cross someone up, they're beaking people. Like,
yeah.
It's just natural. It's not like I plan to do that.
Right.
It's just like, I'm just laughing like, what?
You got to stop cursing, or they are going to actually have an aneurysm.
So that's it cuts out there, but he says, you've got to stop cursing or they are absolutely going to have an aneurysm on the other side of the glass.
All right, so as far as that goes, he would have got run after. I don't care who you are. After the second one, you think I'm joking?
No, I don't think you're
because,
joking.
again, Chris witnessed this happen. We had a major guest on our show. I believe he played Michael Myers in one of the Halloween movies. He dropped 4 F-bombs in a row, and I ran him. And I let it go too far because
and having Michael Myers on Upstate Pulse would be very similar to having one of the baddest closers in baseball on a sports show, right?
Yeah, it would. I mean, it was a major deal. A sponsor was involved, so I let it go a little bit further because I didn't want to upset the sponsor. And then finally, it's just like, yeah, goodbye.
Right.
And I will say on this radio station right here, Carter was guest hosting. Our buddy Carter Bryant was guest hosting. He had a comedian on, was not funny, dropped something, and I said, hey, man, not again. You can't do that. He did it again, cut him off.
Later.
His guest, and I told Carter on the air, I was like,
sorry, dude.
Sorry, man, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. It's the producer's job on the line, and I'm not going to let someone, like that cost me my job. So
I respect that.
And as we know, I'll dump the host. I'll dump the boss if he comes in here. If you say something that I don't think needs to go on the air, I'm pushing the button.
Lonzo's dumped me. What, twice, I think? Or once? Once or twice? Lonzo dumping me.
The day is young.
Lonzo dumping me was the origin of the boat meme here on the show. If you wondered why we don't say the S word, well, besides the fact that we are not allowed to, and we say boat instead, was because I once used another name for a large vessel that transports items. Lonzo caught it as sounding like the S word, dumped it, and it did.
It did.
We went back and listened. It absolutely did. He dumped it on me, and so now instead of the S word, we drop a boat on people. Joe Kelly came in and unloaded with a Bob Saget number of F-bombs inside of a single interview.
Yeah, but here's the thing that he did. It was spaced out enough to where they had the delay had plenty of time to revamp and get back to where it needed to be, and so it wasn't boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Because I'd be curious about what they would do if he went successively.
I'd also like to point out, I mean, for a huge station in Chicago, what's an FCC fine, like $10K for the first one?
Yeah, it's a lot. I heard on the DA show like last week they dumped DA. And why did you dump me?
Yeah.
And they had an entire segment on it. This is a thing.
I got to think if an FCC fine is like $10K for a massive station in Chicago, it's probably not the end of the world. And for them to go, okay, $10K, but we have weekly access to one of the best relief pitchers or closing pitchers in baseball, is probably a worthy trade for them in the city the White Sox play in, right? Like, if Joe Kelly is calling in to do an interview in, I don't know, Paducah, they're probably not letting them get away with it because $10K is the difference in paying the damn bills that week.
All right, this whole thing was a setup because the guy cursing, first thing he asked is the dump button working? He spaced everything out. They knew ahead of time. It's not conspiracy. They worked this out ahead of time. They knew he was going to do this. And making the producer, or at least the hosts and the pitcher knew it and left the producer out of the loop, thinking they were going to mess with him. But they knew he was going to do it because my experience with avid cursors, with people who can't keep it clean. No, you can keep it clean. Those kind of guys, they don't know they're doing it.
You can jump in here, by the way, if you've got something.
They don't know they're doing it. It's just it's so much in their vocabulary.
Right.
And this guy spaced everything out to a degree where the producer had plenty of time. This was them going at the producer, and I guess it worked because he sounded pretty scared.
I think this is an interesting take from Lonzo because I know him well enough to know that he's paranoid enough to think that somebody set that up. And I don't necessarily think you're wrong, but that's just not where I would go. Rob played this for me in the office, and that didn't even occur to me. It sounded very natural on the part of the pitcher. But I agree with you. Since you've said it, I'm like, yeah, that does sound a bit like a prank played on the producer.
So here's the thing. Joe Kelly is on weekly. Like, this is a weekly spot, and they started it by saying, we take a bet on whether or not we can get you comfortable enough to cuss on the air, which, when you talked about it earlier, right? Listen, yeah, I cuss a lot, all right? I cuss a lot. But I don't do it when I'm on the radio. The filter kicks in, but that is because while I'm in here to have a good time and have fun and let loose and whatever, at the same time, it's still my job. I still know that everything I say is under scrutiny. Not just saying bad words, but like, do the things that I'm saying make sense? Are they easy to follow? Are they entertaining? Do they track? Do I have good points, etc.? So the filter is on, even though it is a job where I get to lay loose. Whereas if I'm at the bar, I have been elbowed in the ribs by the lady friend multiple times because I'm with 2 or 3 of the guys and we're having a couple of beers and we're watching football, and I let a curse word go and she's like, hey, there's kids right there. And I'm like, oh, darn it. There sure is. Sassafrassin. Sorry. You know, and it's not, I don't mind censoring myself when kids are around. Don't bring them to a bar. All right. If your kid's in a bar, he's going to hear bad words. That's the world. But if I'm walking down Main Street, I'm not going to let fly. I don't mind censoring myself. But here's the thing. They open that segment by saying, we are trying to make you comfortable enough to cuss, which is because if you have a bet, it means somebody thinks you will, which means they're trying to make it happen. And number 2, to his credit, Joe Kelly did say before he told the story, they specifically asked him to tell. And if you watch the tape, it was pretty evident what he said already, because I actually was watching that game. Pretty evident what he said already. And he warned them, and he said, where's that button? Get that button ready. Put that finger on the button, executive producer, because I'm about to go ahead and uncensor this one for you. To Joe Kelly's credit, he called his shot after the host said, we are trying to make this happen. So if a host says to me, we're going to see if we can make you cuss, to me, I'm going, so if I do, it's not on me, right? You're setting this up to happen, so why am I going to censor myself? The only thought that I had was me hosting that show, looking through the metaphorical glass to see Lonzo with his head so hot I could fry an egg on it. That's the mental imagery I had in that.
By the way, I'm a little more calm in those situations than you think. Because the thing I'm talking about with Chris,
yeah.
Chris is standing over there laughing the entire time. He's waiting to see what I'm going to do.
I did think it was funny, mostly because Lonzo gets, he's right, he's calm. He gets really focused when that kind of thing happens. It's like it's anything that goes wrong in the studio. If something goes wrong, you get this laser-like focus, and you got to figure out how to do the rest of your job now that this other thing has happened, whatever it is. And it happens more often than you'd think. And that's the credit to Lonzo, is that he can keep the boat afloat even when things are going wrong.
He did the joke. I like it.
Yeah, all I hear.
But I
the
did
joke.
think it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to, all I had to worry about was keeping the conversation going. Because now I know that Lonzo is focused on doing his job. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna run this interview now. And I would take over. I could converse long enough to give the delay time to rebuild so that he could push the button again when the guest came back on.
All right, last question for both of you guys hosting that show. The dude played Michael Myers. All right, cool. Michael Myers is a character who just walked around, didn't talk, and really didn't even walk any differently scene to scene. All he did was walk around and occasionally sit up slowly. What kind of
And he
questions?
had a mask on.
Well, yeah, and he wore a mask. He didn't have to be expressive. What kind of questions do you ask the guy when his job was, all we need you to do is walk from here to here and not trip, and if you do trip, sit up slowly?
Oh, there are a ton of questions. What was the set like? What were the actors
Mostly
like?
backstage
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
What happened that we didn't see in the film?
Did you expect this to be the phenomenon that it is? I mean, there are a
was a
lot of
good
things you can ask. And you will find characters like, I don't want to say like mimes, but characters who don't speak, they have to speak
A
more.
mime's incredibly expressive.
They have to speak more with their expressions.
Mike Myers had a mask on.
Yeah, but
He's
you
like
can.
the one thing a
but
mime has
Rob,
they took away.
you can be expressive with your face covered. How you carry your body, what your cadence is when you walk. There's so many things that you can be expressive with. You don't need your face to do
Was
it.
it hard to walk ominously?
Lonzo knows about this personally. He tends to favor Halloween costumes that cover his face, and they are downright imposing.
Yeah.
Let's do an interview with Lonzo about that. We can get 30 minutes out of that, right?
Well, we already
We
have
kinda just
gone
did.
way too late, so you know.
All right, I just wanted to do that while Captain America Chris Evans down the hall was here. See you, buddy. Let's take a break. Back after this. Rob Lonzo, you. This is the Fan Upstate.
has gone viral with 1.5 million views. According to Chaikin, who spent 50 years on Wall Street, a historic event in 2022 will cause a massive shift in the wealth divide. This will affect anyone who owns stock, says Chaikin, who accurately predicted the 2020 crash. Most people will never see it coming. Chaikin, a popular guest on Jim Cramer's Mad
Just
Money,
also
has
want to say, if
never
you're
shied
listening
away
to that
from
last
sharing
segment,
his
if I am
controversial
the producer,
Chaikin is pointing
I
to a
consider
huge
that being
change in the way
pranked.
thousands of
And if I
companies will
consider
need
that
to do
being
business
pranked,
in
I would have to
2022.
retaliate in some way.
Everyone from Apple to Amazon, he says.
And the thing
Watch his
is, with the
full brand new warning
retaliation,
free of charge at
wouldn't know when it was coming. It could be 6
stockmarketshift.com/radio.
months down the
Go to
road because I'm a very patient person,
stockmarketshift.com/radio to learn
and
more
I will
about
wait till your
2022's
guard is
huge event
down.
Predicted by Mark Chaikin. That's stockmarketshift.com/radio.
I desperately needed
And Chris
a car,
was-
but I didn't
look,
want to go
here's
through the
Chris.
hassle of trying
He's-
to finance through a
Rob,
dealership.
he's just standing
so
there.
I went to
It's
Lightstream.
not- he gets this look on his face when he's trying to figure out what's going to happen, which is hilarious. And he's just waiting.
The loan
And
process
each
was
one,
so
it
easy.
just
I
got
signed
bigger
all
and
the
bigger. And it's
documents
like, okay,
and
that's it.
completed
I
the
can't.
process
I
of getting
can't.
my hair done.
I had my money the same day with Lightstream.
If there was
Having
no
that cash
client
helped me get
involved, it would have
much
been a
better
quicker
deal.
hook.
And the Lightstream payments are so affordable.
So
Now
I
you can
get the
money
reason
you
why
need
they
fast for the used car you love with Lightstream. Loans
didn't
start
pull
at
him
just
off the air because of
3.99% APR with auto pay
what you
and
were
excellent
saying,
credit
having
when you buy
access
from the
and all that
dealership.
kind of stuff.
Apply
But still,
today at lightstream.com/rate and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/RATE for your extra discount. Lightstream.com/rate.
Subject to credit approval, rates range from 3.99% APR to 9.49% APR and included 0.5% auto.
yes, he is my favorite comic book hero.
Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/rate for more information.
Whether it's a bad kick, nagging back pain,
So I went over there
or
to
a
get
hip
that
has you
Vampire
hobbling,
Hunter
nothing
book
matters more than
yesterday,
getting you back to
and
feeling
all
your
DC
best.
got delayed.
As South Carolina's most preferred orthopedic provider and official team doctors for the Gamecocks and Tigers, Prisma Health provides all the care you need. With more expertise, more technology,
Spent an hour playing that
more
arcade game
locations
last night.
closer to you.
Just going
We're
through
doing
all the
even
different
more to
ones,
help you
but
be
playing
your
my favorite
healthiest
one.
you. Prisma Health, the orthopedic experts.
Took me a while to get past the first level. Well, the first level has 4 levels to it, and you start out as a cadet, and then you become a captain. But the whole time, my daughter's walking in. Is he saying stuff? The alien talks stuff the entire time. Oh, it makes you so mad.
I love it. Hey, it's the music from Jaws. How about that?
You're
See,
just-
I know the classics.
Yeah, you're just saying that because you saw my response to someone. Because you probably wouldn't have known what this is.
Yeah, Lonzo.
You told me you don't watch horror
I
movies.
don't, but it doesn't mean I don't know the classics.
Okay.
Man, I'm just telling you. This is appropriate music for the day.
All right, so here's your problem, and I'm sure the audience knows this too. It's what you're wearing. It's just too plain, man. You don't walk up and wear that when you're Rob Brown and you wear purple and you wear color and you're dressed like me today. If I'm going somewhere and somewhere where I have to dress up a little, don't do that. You're ruining your day.
No, man, I'm not wearing khakis. You're a big khakis guy.
There's that. And no, before you ask, I didn't take them back because I would never do. Even though I say that, because now, don't you imagine if you actually took those pants back? I know you probably took yours back, but yours didn't fit. But if you take them back, now every time you go and buy clothes, you got to think, okay, did someone else wear this and then bring it back?
Did Lonzo wear this?
Yeah,
and bring it back.
That's totally different. That makes it a little more valuable, but you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rob Brown Show. It is great to have you. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. Don't worry. We get by today. We hit the backslide, and, it's all downhill from here. It's all downhill from here. 2 more days? What?
Dude, come on.
I know that you're saying things to me that are meant to be off of the stream.
All right,
and
let
on
me
there,
let me do it this way.
But you just put up this. Gotcha. Quick break. Yeah. No, I don't. Just tell me.
All right, we have 2 more breaks because we went
have 2
late.
more
I'm
breaks.
just
That's right,
I'm
got
just
it.
trying to remind
Yeah.
you here. I mean,
Yeah.
I will learn the sign language if it's necessary.
No, I got it now. I could have figured it out.
We're good. I'm just
Listen.
trying to keep you on the clock.
I am usually, Lonzo, what they would describe as unflappable, right? I am unflappable. I am very flapped today.
How about them Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, how about them Dallas Mavericks? Dude, what the hell, Golden State? What was that?
How about that 3-point show that we saw last night that was just so amazing? You thought they were done. They come out and just throw everything they threw up. And the roof was leaking, and there's just so many things going.
Can we talk about that?
And Draymond Green did the thing he did. I don't know if you saw it. Look up Draymond Green's foul shot. I think it was a foul shot.
Oh, where he stuck it on the back
where
of the rim.
It just bounced and just.
If I gave you 250 opportunities, you could not do that. He did it in an NBA game. The Warriors last night. It's not like the Warriors played bad basketball. By the way, for a team that was down 29 in the fourth quarter, they scared the Mavs late a little bit. They had the comeback boots on for just a little while at the end.
When you have to bring your starters back in, I mean, that shows you were a little worried.
Yeah, the problem for Golden State was that it was their starters that were all in the plus minus. Right? Check this out. Lonzo, here were the plus minus numbers for the starters. Green minus 18, Wiggins minus 20, Looney minus 20, Curry minus 23, Thompson minus 22. Here were the plus minus numbers for the bench. Bjelica plus 18, Kuminga plus 9, Lee plus 15, Poole plus 7, Moody plus 7. The bench was net positive for the Warriors, but the starters were fat minus on the plus minus. Fat minus on the plus minus.
Fat minus, yo.
I said what I said. Dallas, 20 of 43 from behind the arc. It's not just that they were shooting at a 46.5% clip. It's that they were good shots, right? It's that they were good shot collections, good shot selections. That's the word I wanted to say, but my mouth hole forgot how to say it.
Put all the shots together, they're a collection.
A collection of shots executed with good shot selection. Nailed it. 50% from the floor, 41 for 82, and 17 of 22 from the stripe. What else you looking for? 45 boards. Here's in the statistical categories from top to bottom. The Mavericks won all of them. They had more blocks. The only one they did not win was steals. Golden State had 5. Dallas had 4. Dallas had 30 assists to the 26 of the Warriors. The Mavs had 45 boards to the 42 of the Warriors. They had 41 defensive rebounds to 36 of the Warriors. They hit 17 of 22 from the stripe, as opposed to Golden State's 17 of 26. They hit 20 of 43 efforts for 46.5% from deep, compared to the 10 of 28 for 35.7% for the Warriors. And the Mavs went 50% from the floor of 41 for 82. The Warriors went 41 of 84, 48.8%. Win the little battles, and they'll add up to help you win the war. And last night, Dallas did it. Now, I'm still not making a bet that they go to Golden State and win another one, right? I think it's over 4-1. I think that Golden State, and I hate to say this because there's really nothing that you can do to prove this. It's just speculation at its finalist. But my speculation here, Lonzo, is that Golden State kind of thought, yo, we're up 3. Let's just trot out the Golden State unis, and Dallas is going to roll over for us. That was one of the hardest fights I've seen out of an NBA team in like a hot minute. Dallas was throwing blows last night at Golden State.
But does Golden State, do they have the mentality, yeah, we got this. Because that kind of seemed like what the mentality was last night.
It did.
Or do they come out with a sense of urgency in the next game and finish this thing? Because if they come out playing the same way they did last night, tomorrow night, and Dallas plays the same way they did, suddenly it's a series. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it does, but we'll see.
I think Golden State thought we show up tonight, we roll out tonight, we go whoop them and put them away tonight, no problem. They're going to roll over. They're down 0-3. Nobody comes back from 0-3. They're going to be just fine. Let's go out there and just show them who we are and win this thing. Dallas came out and said, hell no, we're not going down. We're getting us. I mean, look, if we lose, we lose, but getting swept? There's no pride in getting swept. So Dallas put up the fight of their lives last night.
But can they continue this? When Luka was off the floor, they got faster and they almost played better. So, I mean, can the other guys on the team keep it up? Because Luka's there every night playing hard. It's the rest of the team that isn't stepping up all the time. If they play like they did last night, that was some fun basketball to watch.
Dorian Finney-Smith, 9 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 7 from the stripe. Bullock, 6 of 10 from the floor, 6 of 10 for the stripe. Brunson, 5 of 12. You got 13 from Kleber off the bench, 10 from Spencer Dinwiddie, who, by the way, absolutely put the freaking wheels on Steph Curry a couple of times. As Keegan said in the stream, and an up 3-0 attitude will get you an L real quick. Yeah, well, they don't have a 3-0 attitude anymore because now it's 3-1, and Dallas has proven we can beat you. If you're out there goofing off, we'll snipe you. That being said, I expect Golden State from games 1, 2, and 3 to show back up in game 5. This thing's over. Back after this to finish up hour 1 of the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. So how's everybody in the stream? How we doing? Skrilla, welcome in, buddy. Trey, good to have you. Keegan, I very much considered that, pal. Very much considered that.
So I know you're not watching NXT, but Two Dimes and Stacks wrestled last night, Tony D'Angelo's boys. And I don't know if they're indie guys or what, but they look good. They didn't look like they were developmental. Yeah. It was like, ooh, because I expected it to be, sluggish and botches, and it was not. It was good.
I watched Chippendale Rescue Rangers
Did
yesterday. I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it. I genuinely enjoyed that movie. It was fun.
You see what I was saying, though, about all the stuff going on in the background?
Oh, it was constant.
Yeah.
I had to hit rewind 100 times.
I definitely want to see the movie that was in it.
Yeah.
The superhero versus the alien.
Yep.
Try not to be spoilery.
Yeah, I know. Same, but I loved it.
The voice work was good. The cartoons were good. The homage to Roger Rabbit, because that's what it is.
Yep.
Because Roger Rabbit's actually in it.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good.
My favorite little Easter egg in the whole thing was called Butthead Attorney at Law.
Yeah.
On the park bench.
Yeah. And Main Street.
Main Street was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I had as much fun just going scene by scene trying to identify cartoon characters. Like, who's that guy? Where's that guy from? Where's that guy from? Phineas and Ferb's mom was on Main Street selling stuff.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious.
And the ugly creature, that was the funniest thing of all. The joke that just kept going.
Yep.
That means they're willing to make fun of themselves.
Yep.
You know. Although, what was that even a Disney movie though?
Stan's dad in the bathhouse, just he was just there. He didn't even say anything. Just there. It was amazing.
There wasn't as many characters in there as like Ready Player One, but still there was quite a bit. And the story was good. The little house was, was. Forgot to look up who Zipper's voice is.
I did. It's the original voice actor who played her. I can't remember her name, but
Not Zipper. Zipper's the.
Zipper. Sorry, I was thinking Gadget.
Gadget. Yeah. Zipper's the fly. Yeah. I want to say it's what's his name from Major League and from
David
the
Palmer.
Allstate commercials.
President Palmer from 24. You ever watch 24?
Nah.
I loved 24.
Reality-based shows. Remember, I just don't. You know.
And the the last joke on the way out was, let's get some pop star to make a really serious version of the original theme song, even though people just want to hear the original, and then dropping into the most gangster Chippendale theme song of all time.
By the way, it was him.
Was it?
I thought
Believe
so.
you, Jobu. I do it myself.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, that's just, that voice is so distinctive.
Yeah.
Trey is asking if you received his new picks.
I did. I'm gonna do a Great Mullet Hunt update later in the show because we got a bunch of them, and we got like 6 days left in the Great Mullet.
I would say I can't wait, but I mean, I'm pretty excited. So yeah, I can't wait. Just hope no one gets in trouble.
For what? Coming up later in the show, we've got a Rob Brown Show Great Mullet Hunt of 2022 update coming for you. Because you guys have hammered me. You guys have hammered me with mullet picks the last 2 days. I'm very pleased. Very pleased with the Rob Brown Show Armada showing out the last few days with the mullet picks. You have got, because I am taking submissions until May 31st, you have 6 days remaining to get your mullet hunt picks in. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to warn you, Lonzo. I feel like I got a shot to propel myself back to the top of the leaderboards because I'm not up there anymore. We've had a few submissions.
You're setting precedents, so other people can go, wow, I got to up my game.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
Do you know where I will be on Sunday, Lonzo?
Watching things go vroom, vroom, vroom.
I will be at the Coca-Cola 600 NASCAR race at Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I will not be reserved nor shy about throwing some mullet picks into the competition from a distance.
I just want to say that I am appalled at your stereotypical attitude that you believe that this is a place where mullets may gather.
Yeah, no, how awful of me. Anyway, so I'm going to win unless any of you are also going to the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday. In which case, happy hunting, friends. I think I got 5 submissions the last 2 days. Remember, submit your picks of wild-caught mullet. 5 points for quality of mullet. 5 points for environment surrounding the mullet. 1 point if you're in. By the way, 2 people have sent me pictures of selfies with a mullet, including one guy who's like, yeah, I just asked him if I could have a selfie because I liked his mullet. And the guy was like, yeah.
There you go. I mean,
great
that's
strategy.
It's a move. It is
Great
definitely
strategy.
a move.
I think that's probably the best strategy, right? Because if dude or chick is rocking the mullet in person, 90% chance they're a fun-loving kind of person, right? And they're going to think that's awesome. They're going to think it's awesome. I am waiting for the email of, hey, Rob, my name is so-and-so. One of your listeners asked me for a picture with my mullet, told me about this, and I wanted to be the official mullet of the show. It's happening. It's coming. I know it's coming. By the end of the month, it's going to happen. So we'll do a great mullet hunt update coming up later in the show. Also, coming up later on in the show, I have some more thoughts. You know, we told you yesterday that the Southeastern Conference might be organizing their own postseason and not playing ball literally or metaphorically with anybody else. I got some more thoughts about that I put together after the show was over yesterday and more. Gonna be a busy second hour. Texter said, fan, I was planning on being at the race this weekend, but the girlfriend told me last minute we've got a wedding this weekend. She told me months ago, but I'm not buying it. Nah, your loss. Your loss. Don't worry, I'll update you.
Might be some mullets at the wedding. Keep your camera handy.
Keep that cell phone camera ready. You're not gonna beat me though. Last weekend a mullet hunt, and I'm in a NASCAR race. I feel like I'm giving myself an edge here. 2 hours left of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Morning jolt. Yeah, I know. Give me a moment.
Probably was, Keegan. Post Malone does the themes to every cool animated movie of the last 2 years. Didn't he lay down most of the music for Into the Spider-Verse? I think he did.
So I'm very disappointed because, you know, all along they've said Obi-Wan May 25th, and now I find out they moved it to the 27th.
No, it's always been 27th.
It was the 25th at one point.
You sure?
Yes,
Okay.
because May 25th is a special day. I believe that's when the original Star Wars came out,
Ah.
and they were going to have it on May 25th. So Keegan asked a question earlier, which one do you watch, Obi-Wan or Stranger Things? You watch both. Carve out 2 hours.
We've also got a group of dudes getting together to go see Top Gun.
I will be there 6:30 tomorrow night. Already bought my tickets.
Will we get a full review on the Upstate Poll Saturday?
You get a review, but you won't get a spoiler.
Okay.
Although
I listened to I listened to the first hour of y'all Saturday night. I wish I'd have been there for the UFO discussion. would have made it much more interesting.
Well, that actually was the first time since Chris is gone where I did a show without either you, Rob Young, or Cameron.
Oh, really?
So it's my first time with the kids, and a little concerned.
Yeah, you guys
but
did great.
But they both stepped up.
Yeah.
And which is what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I think they both did a fantastic job.
Although T2 just wanted to fight over the AI thing.
He really did.
Yeah,
He got very into
I was
it.
looking
I
at him
liked
like,
it.
yeah, but he's, and you can tell him. I mean, if you're watching, he's got some of that youthful anger that he needs to be careful with because it's
Which
to
is
the
hilarious
point where
'cause
it's just like,
he's just barely younger than me.
but it's like, dude, it's okay. Yes, we disagree. You're wrong, but we just, you know.
Why ever might he have some level of aggression? I can't imagine.
I don't mind disagreement and debate, but on that show, I'd rather not have legitimate anger, which we do get on occasion. Usually it's because someone just got pranked, but, He got a gimbal for his cell phone
Yeah,
and got some ideas.
I like it.
And he said that it will focus on a person.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. We
Uh,
especially have some fun around Halloween and some other things.
put something in front of it and do first-person perspective. Of
Well, the hallways are not used nearly as much as they can be for like races and things. They used to be. There used to be races in the hallways all the time because it's not an oval, but it's a square.
It's a yeah.
And it works really well. Usually the Rise guys used to do stuff.
If I ever turn the corner and see Fat Boy 9 and Matt Man coming at me down a hallway, I'm ducking into the nearest available door. You're not surviving that impact.
I'm getting down to my stance. Let's see what happens.
See what happens.
I may not be able to fire out of that stance anymore, but I'm getting down in it. Once you commit, you're down there. Wow, I missed on that. Oh well. Oh well. Yes, I think the results of which some of those races required paint on walls.
Paint. Oh.
Yes.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the fan upstate. Hello, upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. I am Rob Brown, the great one, the wizard of wave, the professor of perfection, the alpha and the omega of the fan upstate, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show, the content cash cow, Colonel Grudge, hashtag dad kicks. Lonzo is at the helm today.
Good night, everybody. After that, how many more
I was
nicknames?
passed out.
How many more nicknames can you give me?
I had one more for you the other day, but now I forgot what it was. I like the Wizard of Wave. That one sticks.
For a while until Jericho changes and decides.
No,
to
that
go
one.
somewhere else.
In fairness, I said that before he started throwing fireballs at
You
people.
probably did.
So basically, Chris Jericho. By the way, big fan of the show is Chris Jericho. Listens all the time. I'm not going to say I started calling you the Wizard of Wave, and then all of a sudden Chris Jericho started calling himself a wizard. But timeline adds up.
Wonder if engineering would frown upon us, doing some
Throwing fireballs?
wizardry in here that involves fire. Yeah.
I don't know that either one of us needs a flamethrower in the office. You'll notice that I relegated it to in the office. There are a lot of other places I absolutely do. I could have some fun, but just not in the office.
I'm going to throw it up against that glass.
See what happens. Busy day coming down the pipe. We talked a little bit about the Warriors and the Mavs. The Mavericks last night, I don't know, Lonzo, was it a blowout or was it not? Because on one hand, the Mavs were up 29 points early in the fourth quarter. On the flip side, they won by 10, and it was as close as 7 with 2 minutes left to play.
All right, so
not?
if I recall, Golden State started taking their players out. So then Dallas started taking their players out. So what it ends up being is that one bench is stronger than the other. And so they had to start once Golden State started coming back, then they're like, oh, we got a chance. So they started putting their guys back in. Dallas had to put – it could have been a blowout. They took their foot off the gas. Dallas did, and they shouldn't have. They should have made it 50.
Any credit to the Golden State bench for showing out late in that game? I mean, it could have been worse of a blowout.
Oh, absolutely. When you can games, it's the NBA. A game's not out of reach. They had an entire quarter, and they just started chipping away at that thing and making their way back into the game. They definitely get a lot of credit for that.
I was impressed by their bench players. I genuinely was.
And I'm watching the game like, why are you taking the starters out? Don't do that. Score as much as you possibly can on this team.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Golden State, Golden State's bench deserves every bit the amount of credit, the same amount of credit that the Dallas Mavericks starters do for creating the situation where the Warriors bench had to come alive. Like, they were great. They were great. Here's the question that I genuinely have, though. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, though. Why, in these NBA playoffs, which started so exceptionally well, they were competitive, they were close, we had back and forth games, even Dallas Phoenix was good. Why is it in these NBA playoffs we started with such a close and competitive set of games, and then as we get deeper into the playoffs, they're getting progressively worse, right? Dallas Phoenix was a great series. Though I wish there would have been one more Memphis win to make Memphis Golden State a great series. It was a really good series. Boston Milwaukee was a really good series. Why is it that for whatever reason, Miami Philadelphia was it was pretty good. Philly tried to climb back in there at the end. First off, before anybody hits me with, hold up, Rob, Miami-Boston is square at 2 apiece. I know, I agree. Of those 4 games, all 4 of them have been blowouts. Lonzo, if this series ends in Game 7, 4-3, but every game is won by 20 points or more, is that a great series? Or is that just inconsistency being weird? I wouldn't call it a great series.
See, I don't know how to answer that because it's tied. I mean, it is. And if it goes 7, that means, it was back and forth, which is what you want in a series. I mean, if it's a 1-point game, yeah, I guess that makes it more compelling, but it's just more proof.
None of them have been good games. I haven't finished a single game in the Miami-Boston series.
Yeah.
None of them have been like, I better stick around and stay up late for this. It's been, thankfully this one's over so I can get an extra hour of sleep.
It's just like they trade being in the zone. One team's in the zone, the other one is not. I don't know. Just like I don't know whose turn it is to win tonight. Whose turn is it? I mean, they're taking turns. I don't know. Whose turn is it? Who won the last one? Miami did.
Boston.
Oh, was
No,
it? It was Miami.
Let's see. Hang on. Miami, Boston, Miami, Boston. Boston won the last one. It's alternated starting with Miami. So tonight, if Boston wins by 20 tonight, scratch that. If Miami wins by 20 tonight, I'm done with this series, right? Like they're just, I don't get it. I don't understand. Texter says on the preferred home services text line 71307, the Mavericks had to bring Luka back in and he almost got hurt. Yeah. Because Luka went and sat down for the fourth quarter, and then with 3 minutes left, they're like, oh, damn, these guys are back in this. We were up 30. What happened? By the way, Golden State was not running their starters in the fourth quarter, right? They gave up. Steve Kerr went to the bench. He brought in the boys from the bench. Was like, hey, go finish this up. Get your XP. Get your PT. Let's take this thing to the next game and go win it back in San Francisco. No worries. And then the bench was like, hold up. We got this. Let's make a run at it, right? Let's make a run at it. And then all of a sudden, Dallas is like, oh, hey, Luka, you hit that treadmill for a minute, buddy. You're going back in. But why did it get to that point? I'll tell you, this one, at least this one, Lonzo, at least Golden State and Dallas, I've got an idea, right? Golden State came into this game up 3-0. Golden State came into this, I think, I could be wrong, it happens 2 to 3 times a week. Golden State came into this with the attitude of, we've got them down 3-0. Those 3 games have not been particularly close. There's been a close game, but Dallas scored a lot of points late in that game. All we got to do is roll Steph and Clay and Draymond out there, and Dallas will roll over. We go back to San Francisco, take a breather before the series. Dallas said, hold up. We got this. We want one. We're not going to get swept. And they didn't. Phenomenal effort from the Mavs. But why is this the most inconsistent NBA playoffs, at least as far as the conference finals go, I've ever seen? Miami can't stay consistent. Boston can't stay consistent. I mean, Dallas, I don't know. Do we give... I can give Dallas credit, Lonzo. They have not played hard, right? They have not played hard. They're just not good enough. They're just not good enough.
Yeah, they're not good enough some nights. Last night, they were absolutely good enough.
Yeah.
They're not consistent.
Question is, and you said this earlier, if the Warriors from games 1 and 2 show up in game 5 and the Dallas Mavericks of game 4 show up in game 5, who wins?
I don't know, but it's a good game.
It's a great game. I think Golden State wins.
More than likely, but it could come down to the last minute.
Sure.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah. If it would happen, it hasn't happened. In the entire conference finals, on either side, Lonzo, there has not been a game that's come down to the final minute, right? That's always been the crack about the NBA. You can skip the first 3 quarters because the only one that matters is the fourth. Not in these conference finals. Not in these conference finals. Every game has been over or very close to it at the start of the fourth quarter. Why? And more importantly, does it hurt basketball? I don't know if it does. I think people who are going to watch basketball are still turning in for the NBA finals, right? Regardless of which 2 teams get in, I think the team, whoever gets in, NBA fans are still turning in for the NBA finals because it's the NBA finals. You know what the difference is? You know what the difference is between what happened with the PGA Championship and NASCAR last weekend, right? I asked the question earlier this week, why did nobody talk about the PGA Championship and why did nobody talk about NASCAR's All-Star race? And I figured it out. Zoe, you're not necessarily a NASCAR guy. I would say I'm assuming the majority of your experience with NASCAR is when I talk about it. Is that fair?
Presently, yes.
Okay. Jeff Gordon's gone. Jimmy Johnson is gone. Who's the face of NASCAR right now? Who's the guy? Who's the face? If I ask you to name who you think is the face of that entire sport right now, who would it be?
Cale Yarborough.
Ricky Bobby? Who's the face of NASCAR? Is it Cole Trickle from Days of Thunder? I don't know. And I think that's the problem, right? Now, everybody that is a NASCAR fan has a guy. I'm a Kyle Busch guy. I'm a Kyle Busch guy for reasons Lonzo will appreciate, just because he ticks everybody else off because he's brash.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah. And, our buddy Kevin downstairs, he's got his guy. He's a NASCAR guy. He's going to the race this Sunday. Lady friend doesn't watch NASCAR, but she knows who she's rooting for this weekend. She's going to pick the cutest driver. I'll tell you who I thought was going to be the star. Thought it was going to be Bubba Wallace. It still might be. Bubba gets some experience. Bubba gets some better tech under him. Wins a few races. He's a bona fide star. He was on the way to being a bona fide star last year, and then he just couldn't finish races. A lot of bad luck for Bubba in the 2311 car. But who else? Joey Logano's kind of a dork. He doesn't have mainstream appeal. I love him, but he doesn't. Same with Brad Keselowski, right? There's no star in NASCAR. There's no guy. There's no Dale Earnhardt. There's no guy that brings NASCAR, that brings new fans to NASCAR. Again, I promise you, with Michael Jordan in his back pocket, if Bubba Wallace wins 2 or 3 races, people will start flocking to watch him. You don't have to like it. You do have to acknowledge it. But he's not there yet. So NASCAR doesn't have a star. PGA Championship this weekend. I asked earlier this week, why did nobody talk about the PGA Championship? Why did nobody talk about the PGA Championship? And I figured it out. I was thinking about it last night because I went back and I paid attention. PGA Championship, first off, since the loss of Tiger, what has been my one complaint about the PGA? Since they lost Tiger Woods, the PGA has not formed another star, right?
Yeah, but they've tried.
Sure.
There's been some guys that they've tried to push, and then those guys may be good initially, then they fall back and they're not dominant. You gotta find a guy that you can push that's dominant. Is it who's out there? Who's the number one right now?
The world ranking number one?
Yeah.
John Rahm, I think. John Rahm.
Is he
Scotty Scheffler?
Okay, is Scheffler?
John Rahm's number 2.
Is Scheffler pushed to the point where if you saw him on TV and you're not a fan, you would know who it is?
Not at all. And again, Tiger Woods became a star because of his background, because of his race.
Well, because
of his age.
If I recall, they tried to push Rory like that after Tiger died, and it just didn't because
Rory
he
just started to suck after he had kids.
Right. He just got.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ricky
You don't want to
Fowler
say
could have been that guy.
You don't want to say they got bad because
did.
they're still good enough to be on the tour.
But Ricky Fowler had kids and his game fell apart. Who else? I'm trying to think. It was Ricky Fowler. Sorry, not you said McElroy. Ricky Fowler was in that group, right? Ricky Fowler showed up in the neon shirts and the flat-billed hats and bouncing to hip-hop on the driving range. And then he's got to win, right?
All right, our boy Cam, even though he's got the mullet and everything,
he does have the mullet.
He's got something they could push. He's got something they could push if he would win. The dominant guy has to have an appeal for everybody else, and they haven't found anyone to stay on top consistently.
Sure. You're not wrong. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Golf and NASCAR have a harder problem than basketball has to deal with, or baseball or football, because they're considered niche sports already. Niche sports already. How do you get more people into it? Well, it does help when you have somebody. Tiger was popular for 2 reasons. His background is race, A, and B, the fact that he kicked everybody's ass, right? He killed everybody. Sunday Red Shirt Tiger became an icon. There were people wearing red shirts. There were NBA guys wearing red polos to Sunday NBA games because Tiger was that guy, right? It's a niche thing. People are going to keep coming back to the NBA and the NBA Finals, and this is ultimately where this conversation started for me. But the NBA Finals are going to be fine no matter who's in. Because if the Dallas Mavericks come back and beat the Warriors, you got Luka Doncic, the hottest young player in the league. Him and Ja Morant. If the Warriors get in, you're either coming to root for or against the dynasty, right? Because they are one. Over on the other side, if the Heat get in, Tyler Hero's been in commercial after commercial the last few weeks. You got the young upstart team that nobody believed in to start the playoffs. They made it. Let's watch that. They got stars. Jimmy Buckets, Tyler Hero. And if they lose to the Boston Celtics, here come Jason and Jalen. Young stars, young studs. The NBA's got those guys. The other sports, and baseball, by the way, included in this, better find them. Better find them. Now, baseball does a better job at it than golf and NASCAR, right? Baseball does an outstanding job of it with some guys. Shohei Ohtani, right? Two-way player, one of the better pitchers in baseball, one of the better batters in baseball. I see Shohei lots of places. Shohei is on the cover of the show, which I fired up and played for the first time last night. Man, I suck at that.
Are you worse at that or WWE?
Oh, baseball.
Okay.
Infinitely. I'm getting better at WWE. I suck at baseball. But baseball is doing a better job. Fernando Tatis, Ronald Acuna Jr. is doing a better job of pushing its young stars. Basketball, and I've complained about this as well on the other side. Basketball needs to pitch team. They've done a great job pitching stars. Which is why basketball can have a bad event, right? Basketball can have a bad event and still be okay because they've still got stars people will tune in to see even if we don't love them. But it's not like when they have two great teams. It's not like when they have two great teams come together, people flock to see the great teams. They're still coming for the stars.
See, that's the other thing you just said. Even if they don't love them, you can also push your villain. You can push your villain. If you got a villain, DeChambeau and who was the guy who was feuding with?
Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, for a while that was.
Wasn't it fun?
Yeah,
Lonzo, not golf guy. I would bring up Koepka v. Bryson, whatever the next story was, and Zoe would be like, "You got sound on that?"
And see, NASCAR used to have that.
Yup.
Whether you like the idea of a guy taking his helmet off and throwing it at a moving car or not, they had that. There were punches thrown. There were things like that. That gets people interested. It's unfortunate, but it gets people interested.
By the way, real quick before we take a break, because we have to take a break. I'm looking at the PGA Championship leaderboard from Tulsa this weekend, and in the middle it says, "Are you ready to begin your golf journey with a PGA professional?" Can you see who the coach they're offering here is? How about our executive director of First Tee of the Upstate and friend of the show, Michael Pius? Love that.
Oh, that's cool.
Mike's name showing up on the official PGA website. That a boy, Mike. That a boy. So, PGA Championship leaderboard. Here's your top 4. These are the 4 guys that were in contention as they came down the stretch. Justin Thomas, your eventual winner. Justin Thomas is a good golfer. Can you remember a single story about Justin Thomas, non-golf guy, Alonzo, who works on a show with a dude who talks about golf regularly?
No.
Didn't think so. Will Zalatoris. We remember him for one reason. He was in contention at the Masters 2 years ago, and he looks like Happy Gilmore's caddy. And that's the only thing we know about Zalatoris. Cameron Young and Mito Pereira. The only thing I know about Pereira now is that he had the PGA Championship in the bag, and he double bogeyed at 18 after putting one in the water and chipping the next one over the green, and he gave away a spot in the playoff. So Thomas and Zalatoris went to a playoff. Combined, those 4 guys on Sunday, last hour and a half of that event, which is a point where golf wants the most eyeballs on it. Last hour and a half of that event, the only 4 guys in contention: Justin Thomas, Will Zalatoris, Cameron Young, Mito Pereira. You know how many PGA major wins they have between the 4 of them? 1, and it's the one Justin Thomas won this weekend. There was no Rory. There was no Ricky. There was no Tommy. There was no Rory. There was no Justin Rose, Cameron Smith. There were no guys. There were no guys out there that made it more compelling than it is. The NBA is putting up a really interesting opening round, right? Phoenix, New Orleans was an interesting opening series. Dallas, Utah, same thing. Memphis, Minnesota was really interesting with the Grizz winning. Miami, Atlanta kind of sucked, but Philly, Toronto was pretty interesting. Boston, Brooklyn, because we all love to see that. Would you say the villains? We love to see the Nets get bounced, right? Love to see the Nets get bounced. Second round, good. Phoenix, Dallas, good. Golden State, Memphis, good. Miami, Philly, okay. Milwaukee, Boston, really good. Now, we got an absolute stink bomb of a conference finals on both sides, and people are still going to watch the finals because they have pushed their stars and made them compelling, even if they're the bad guys. We'll take a break. Back after this. Rob Alonzo, the Rob Brown Show's on the radio. It's the Fan Upstate. That dude folded like a video game character.
Wow, isn't it?
Holy crap.
Ralph had to move him.
Yeah. 13?
That make you change your vocation. Like, yeah, maybe this might
Yeah, not for me. When I get turned into what kids would assume were bad graphics in a video game, I'm out.
More proof of you getting knocked out. You have no control over your body.
Sorry, Roger. I don't know if you saw my messages, but the email is rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. Trey said, I got a haircut at Great Clips Friday, and they had a sign that read, it's hockey season, then had various hockey hairstyles, including the mullet. Seems like a good place to go hunt.
I don't know. You get your mullet done at a styling place. I think it's kind of something you do on your own.
No. There are guys who put quality concern into their mullet. Hockey bros very much care about their mullets.
So 25 years ago.
I want to be in the FBI, Dale. You'll see.
25 years ago this month, I came to South Carolina with a mullet. Got hired in radio with a mullet.
So, knowing that you were once a mulleted American, my question would be, on-air bets, are hairstyles free game? Like, I win, you got to go
If you're talking about between you and I, nah, I'm not doing that. There's other things I'll do. I'm not doing that because I am not. Because the thing for me, I want you to get your hair cut short. I don't want to. I've done that for a long time. I also am not shaving my head bald because I am not going to look like King Kong Bundy for you.
King Kong Bundy.
I rarely say no, but for that, yes, I say no. On behalf of my wife, I say no.
This is a banger, Lonzo.
Yeah, somewhere Diesel just threw up Sign of the Devil.
I don't think that's what that is, man.
Well, it's not too sweet.
That's fingers out.
It's not Hook 'em Horns.
Let's see. Well, I found an article entitled Hand Horns, the story behind the popular rock concert gesture, written by Heather Lovejoy. And then I found out that the website it's on is jacksonville.com. So, no.
There's been good reporting in Jacksonville before, right?
Yeah, when people from not Jacksonville show up there to report on how bad it is.
Well, I mean, you reported from Jacksonville, didn't you?
I mean, no, I was an analyst in Jacksonville.
Yeah, but still.
I did in Jacksonville what I do here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Ronnie James Dio often gets credit for making the hand sign synonymous with rock. When Ozzy was kicked out of or left Black Sabbath in 79, Dio took his place. Ozzy's big gimmick on stage was flashing the peace signs. It had become such a Black Sabbath ritual that when Dio took over, he felt the band wouldn't be the same unless he used the symbol as well. A former publicity agent told the Wall Street Journal, but he didn't want to be a copycat. Setting himself apart from Ozzy, Dio adopted what has become the rock music salute. Dio in 2001 told the website metalrules.com, it's not the devil sign like we're here with the devil. It's to ward off the evil eye or to give the evil eye, depending on which way you do it. So it's a bit like knocking on wood, end quote.
So it's you're either giving a curse or blocking a curse.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I guess.
Well,
For
the
me-
evil eye is a curse, right?
For me, it's just going, this is awesome. Whatever's happening right now is awesome. That's literally all it's ever meant to
I
me.
wonder what it means in actual sign language.
I don't know. Anybody out there speak American Sign Language that can tell us what the rock and roll sign means? Inside, if it means anything. I bet it just means, hell yeah, this is awesome. It's been adopted for that. All right.
Or the restrooms in the back.
When a referee throws it, I mean second down. That's not true. They do that. Actually, do they do that? I think they actually do. And it was 1, 2.
They have those things on their fingers that help them remember too.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's for. I used to ref high school ball. That's exactly what that's for. You have you have a wristband and there's a little rubber loop to it, and you loop it over the finger of whatever down it is. That way, in the action of the play, when you're done, you can just look down and go, okay, that was first down. Let me move it over. It's second down now.
More proof that refs can't pay attention. They have to use little, gimmicks.
It is amazing how easy it is to forget stuff when you are trying to call a game. I've done it. It's actually it's tough. It's tough. Listen. The only group of referees in sports that I will very, very frequently go after are baseball umpires. I think there are bad football umpires. I think there's bad basketball referees.
There's definitely bad ones in MMA.
100%.
Too, so, yeah.
100%.
And you know what? The referees in wrestling, man, they don't see anything. I just don't get that.
It's amazing.
All this stuff happens, they don't hear it.
You think they'd be better.
Yeah.
Those rings are very loud. Hey, here's a fun stat that somebody pointed out to me yesterday. You remember yesterday when I said, hey, Lonzo, of the last 16 national champions, 12 of them have been from the SEC. The others have been Clemson, Florida State, and Ohio State, right? 5 champs out of the SEC. 2 from the ACC, Clemson and FSU. 1 from the Big Ten, Ohio State. Here's another fun stat that a listener sent to me shortly after we did that segment. Those same 16 national champions, 15 of them, Lonzo, 15 of them have either beaten Alabama or been Alabama. Right? 2006, Florida won the championship that year. They beat Alabama that season 28-13. 2007, LSU won the national championship. They beat Alabama 41-34. 2008, Florida won it again. They beat Alabama that year 31-20. In 2009, Alabama won the title. In 2010, Auburn won the championship. That year they beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl 28-27. In 2011 and 12, Alabama won the title. 2013 was the only year that the national champion did not beat Alabama or was not Alabama. It was Florida State in 2013, but FSU beat Auburn in the championship, who had beaten Alabama in the Iron Bowl 34-28. In 2014, Ohio State won the title. They beat Alabama in that game, 42-35. In 2015, Alabama won it again. In 2016, Clemson beat Alabama 35-31. In 2017, Alabama won it. In 2018, Clemson beat Alabama 44-16. In 2019, LSU won it. They beat Alabama 46-41. In 2020, Alabama won it. And this past year, Georgia won it after beating Alabama 33-18. Here's the point that I'm making. I spent a lot of time yesterday pumping up SEC fans. I spent a lot of time pumping up SEC fans, talking about how they're best. Don't forget, SEC fans, you are the best conference in college football, but let's not pretend like it's not LSU, Auburn, Bama, and Georgia doing the heavy lifting, and let's not pretend like Georgia has been doing the heavy lifting for more than the last 2 years. And let's not pretend that Auburn has been doing any heavy lifting since 2013, right? It has been Alabama and LSU that have made the SEC as good as they are. Now you had Texas. Now you had Oklahoma. Texas A&M gets the #1 recruiting class. Tennessee's getting better. Kentucky's a football school now. It is what it is. But let's not pretend like the SEC hasn't been getting absolutely carried by Alabama been absolutely carried by LSU. They have. Ross Dellinger, speaking of the SEC, is in the news. Yesterday we told you about the new potential playoff situation where the SEC may do its own postseason playoff, and they may or may not put their champion into the College Football National Championship playoff. Well, Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated is now adding to that report that not only might there be a new postseason playoff for the Southeastern Conference, but they may join the Pac-12 in scrapping divisions within the conference and going to a pod format. According to Dellinger, quote, months ago, a consulting firm produced more than 30 different formats for a future football scheduling model of a 16-team Southeastern Conference. A week before the league's leaders gather in Destin for their annual spring meetings, the 35 has been cut to 2. An 8-game format where teams play 1 permanent opponent and 7 rotating opponents, and a 9-game format where teams play 3 permanent opponents and 6 rotating opponents. Officials feel strongly, according to Dellinger. Sorry, I just read this text, Alonzo. I'm never streaming this show again. I tune in for the first time in months, and y'all are worshiping the devil? You just lost a fan. You want to respond to that, Zoe?
What's this y'all stuff? The evil's on that side.
What do you mean? You put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Why don't you put that voodoo on me?
You're over there throwing up the sign of the devil. I'm not doing that.
That's a sign of Ronnie James Dio, baby.
Yeah, he was never known to be,
Ronnie James
evil.
Dio was not. He was Dio, man. All right, let me finish this
Yes,
story.
Rainbow in the Dark was a positive song.
All right. So Dellinger is reporting that the Southeastern Conference is likely to scrap divisions and move to either a 1-7 model where teams would have 1 permanent opponent and 7 rotating. So Auburn would obviously keep Alabama. LSU and their fake-ass rivalry with Arkansas would stay. I would assume Texas would get paired up with Texas A&M, or Texas-Oklahoma would get paired up, and A&M would probably get paired up with, oh, God, who do you pair A&M up with? I don't even know. Huh. Auburn, Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. I'm going to have to think about that. Florida, Georgia.
Thought you just said Texas A&M.
South Carolina. No, who's South Carolina get paired up with? I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that.
Vanderbilt.
You can only hope. It's a free win every year, right? No, Vandy gets paired with Kentucky? I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, Dellinger says that most everybody he's talked to in the Southeastern Conference feels strongly that divisions are, quote, likely gone, end quote, and that a pod system first floated out in the fall has been eliminated. The conference is virtually split on what to do next. Do they go to 8 conference games or 9? And they say that is predominantly split up based on revenue options. The new 16-team SEC will be the richest and most powerful in the history of college athletics. There is no doubt about that. It is also one of the most diverse. There is no doubt about that. So you've got a lot of people, including the voices of Texas and Oklahoma joining in 05, that are kind of trying to figure out how to set it up, right? Dellinger says most within the conference would consider the top half of the conference to be Alabama, LSU, Auburn, Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Georgia, and Florida, while the bottom half would be Tennessee, South Carolina, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Mizzou. And they say that there's going to be a lot of toss-up between the schools because, for instance, if you're in the bottom half of that list, right? Tennessee, South Carolina, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vandy, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri. Ole Miss and Mississippi State are getting paired up. South Carolina could very well get paired up with who? Tennessee? I mean, do you want to slog it out against Tennessee every year as your one permanent game if you go permanent? So they're probably going to want the 3 permanent opponent model with the 6 rotating games and 9 conference games. Nick Saban, I promise you, does not want 9 conference games. He wants 8, right? Why make it harder to win a championship? And adding a 9th conference game means that every now and then that 9th conference game is going to be one of the better teams in the conference. Nick Saban is going to absolutely prefer, as are most of the top tier teams, the 1 permanent opponent and 7 rotating with 8 SEC conference games. See, the problem with all of this, not problem, the reality with all of this, Zoe, is that what's good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander. And the top tier schools do not give a gosh darn about the bottom tier schools. Bama could give 0 boats about what happens to Kentucky. Georgia does not care what happens to South Carolina and what set South Carolina up for success. That's why there's so much drama here. Let me take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2. Start off hour number 3. MLB has handed out its punishment to Josh Donaldson. Now Tim Anderson and Yasmini Grandal, the other 2 big faces in that, have spoken out. Tell you what they had to say when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Prisma.
Tell you about my friends at Prisma Health, ladies and gentlemen. Prisma Health is where I get my medical attention. As a matter of fact, I got an appointment set up with them next Wednesday because I have got a thing coming up that I got to take care of. And when it comes to my health care, I want to make sure that the folks that I go see are available, are convenient, are there for me. I know I can just pop in and they're going to have a healthcare professional that I trust, that I like, that communicates well with me, ready to look after me. And when it is time for me to receive healthcare, I know that they are going to have the best resources and the most up-to-date knowledge and information to make sure that I am taken care of, to make sure that I am healthy, and to make sure that my healthcare, because it is my priority, is theirs as well. They are the official healthcare provider of the Tigers and the Gamecocks for all of those reasons and so many more, including the best sports medicine department in the upstate. Check them out online at prismahealth.org. Prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the upstate. Yes, Benjamin. It is referred to as speaking sign language. Shocking enough.
What's the proper way of asking? Does anyone out there know sign language?
I think speak sign. I mean, it's considered speaking sign. It's called speaking.
I'm sure you're right.
Keegan, well done. I suppose I probably could have phrased that better. That is not what's happening.
I was say, is it well done? Was it well done?
No, that is not what's happening.
That sounds like admittance, is what that sounds like. Okay.
No, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to save it for March Madness, right?
If you feel like it's necessary.
You know, this is the first gig I would ever say I'm going to save it for March Madness, but like I wouldn't because I go to March Madness. So
Yeah, you're the only one. No, I guess you weren't, were you? Were you the only one?
No. Mark went.
Good for him. Couldn't remember. Or didn't know. Or maybe didn't care. I don't know. One of those.
That one.
All I know is I didn't get to go, but that's fine.
I'll tell you didn't miss anything, but that's a lie. It was a blast.
Well, I've gone before, so it wasn't like I've never been. You know, Zeb, I wasn't particularly talking about Mark. I was talking about a Mark, which is just a wrestling term. You know.
You Mark. Like a rainbow in the dark. Bow, now, 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 now.
So you're saying Dio isn't evil, even though in the song he asks, "Do your demons? Do they always get you down?" Which is admitting that he's possessed.
No, okay.
Duh.
Demons are a metaphor.
Are they?
Yes, everybody has their demons. Does not mean that everybody is possessed.
Where did the metaphor come from?
The belief that demons are what cause you to do bad things, as opposed to
Okay.
people just accepting responsibility for their decisions.
All right. So, okay.
That's weird. Because it's easier to blame other things than ourselves.
Or sometimes it's demons.
You have worked with people that make you know that statement's true.
I hope
You might be working with one now.
that I don't possess those things.
I didn't. Did I say you? Or did I say you have worked with people whom? Whom? Yeah, whom. I'm sticking with that. That's correct.
You already cost us one listener, Rob.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that, Zoe. That's on me. My bad. Did not mean to cost us a listener by, and I quote, worshiping the devil.
You keep throwing up the sign like it's nothing. Look, you did it again.
Because you know why? It's nothing. Look at that. It just means I'm having a great time, everybody. That's it. That's all it means. I'm having a lovely time this evening at this wonderful rock and roll show.
Your eyes are like covered in black. It's weird.
Oh, man. All right, coming up in the next hour of the show. We'll spend maybe one segment on it. But we told you earlier this week about Major League Baseball doing a wholesale investigation into the confrontation between the Yankees and the White Sox after Josh Donaldson referred to Tim Anderson, the black shortstop for the Chicago White Sox, as Jackie. Right after it was over, Donaldson came out and said, yo, hold up. I've been calling him that for a while. I've been calling that for a couple of years, and it's never been a problem until now. Why? And I said, yo, before you being Major League Baseball, start to just hand out punishments, before you start to just go out there and tell people you're punished for this bad behavior, maybe ask some questions. Maybe jump in and ask Josh, is that true? Ask Tim, is that true? Ask guys that they played with and around from Minnesota and Atlanta and New York and Chicago, is that true? Get some answers. Well, turns out they did. And Tim Anderson spoke about it. We'll tell you what they all had to say when we come back here in just a minute. 1 hour left. It shall be spectacular. He's Lonzo, I'm Rob, and this is the Fan Upstate. My nephew is now just singing and repeating the phrase, like a rainbow in the dark. So that's going to be awesome later when my brother calls me and goes, do you want to explain to me why my son is singing Dio?
I guess you could blame me.
Oh,
It's
no.
not my fault.
Are you kidding me? I will take credit for that. That is a moment of pride for me.
I like what I just did. Although I could be a moment of pride for you. Yes, that liner sounds like an ID.
I know it got me earlier. There's lightning. All right, here we go. The Rob Brown Show back on the radio. The third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. You're you. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Phone line's open for you. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFO, and 844-FAN phone. You may also shoot us a text on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, and we will read them on the air. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, at 71307. Certainly want to hear what it is that you have to say today on the show. We talked a little bit about the SEC potential schedule. Ross Dellinger saying there could be a big switch. And look, I'm going to say it like this. Any scheduling format that makes me have to decide if I'd rather see the Iron Bowl or the oldest rivalry in the South play, or the Iron Bowl and Alabama-Tennessee and the third Saturday play, it's a bad schedule, all right? Now, I'm going to kind of contradict myself a little bit. I've told you guys in the past that I'm not the dude that's a sucker for tradition, right? What have I called tradition in the past? Peer pressure from dead people, right? We've always done it this way is not a great way to do it that way.
So disrespectful.
That's fine. That's fine. But the way it is does not mean it is the way that it has to be. And we've always done it that way does not mean that's the best way to have done it. People used to ride horses. It was tradition. Now Lonzo's got a very nice car. All right?
People still ride horses.
Yeah, but not as their you know what I'm saying.
Charles Barkley just rode to work on a horse.
Who was it, Ernie, that went, man, that horse got a strong back. Anyway.
But the way gas prices are, I mean, it might be cheaper to buy a horse and, just saying.
Of course, of course. So somebody asked, why would they even think about a one permanent opponent rotation? And the answer is by doing one permanent rotation, one permanent opponent, you can keep the 8-game conference schedule. Everybody gets the same number of home and road games. And on top of that, every school gets one extra non-conference, a.k.a. cupcake game. The 1-7 rotation, I hate. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think it's bad. I think it's I think if you start taking rivalries off the table for the sake of, I don't even know. For the sake of what? For the sake of why, Greg? Why are we doing that? Why would you threaten to take Alabama, Georgia, or Alabama, Tennessee, or Alabama, Auburn off the table out of your own conference? Why would you do that? That seems silly, right? You would take LSU, Florida, which it's probably not the biggest rivalry, but in the mid-early 2000s, it had developed into quite the rivalry, right? Why'd you take that off? Why would you would have to get rid of Ole Miss, LSU, right? That is a rivalry. Even though LSU has made it one-sided, it is a rivalry. They don't like each other. You've got Texas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma, and Mizzou all sitting over there in Big 12 country, or artists formerly known as Big 12 country. And you're going to go Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Mizzou. You guys play each other. Well, it's a crap rivalry for Oklahoma to enter the SEC with, and you're taking either Texas, Oklahoma, or Texas, Texas A&M off the docket. Why would you do that? It seems silly. You're going to end up getting the 3-6, right? You're going to end up getting the 3-6. You're going to end up getting 3 permanent rotating opponents, or 3 permanent opponents, 6 rotating opponents, and 3 out-of-conference games every year. So Florida State will stay on. Georgia Tech will stay on. Stuff like that. I don't know. I don't get it. Here's my favorite thing. There's a guy that I looked at because I'm flipping around different message boards, like looking at different people's reaction to this. And one guy got mad because Dellinger said in there, he listed what he believes is the top and the bottom of the SEC. And he put Texas in the top and Tennessee in the bottom. And this Tennessee fan lost his mind. He's like, yeah, let me get this right. The newcomer Texas gets to be considered top of the SEC because they're Texas. And Tennessee, a founding member of the conference, is in the bottom 6. And somebody went with, dude, you're 500 against Vanderbilt in the last decade. Maybe cool your jets a little bit. Which is a spectacular slapback.
Don't sleep on Tennessee. They're up and coming, Rob.
Fair enough. Hey, also, by the way, since I did not get to this yesterday, real quick, plan on a roadie in 2026, though, because the Furman Paladins are going to Tennessee to play football. Furman and Tennessee signed a contract, according to Jason Donnelly, friend of the show, revealed on Inside Furman Athletics earlier this week that 2026, they're going to Tennessee. They were initially scheduled to play Tennessee on September 19, 2020, but that game was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Paladins about to get a $500,000 paycheck from Tennessee to head to Neyland and play them on the river. By the way, unless something dramatic changes between now and then, Furman, you've got the Vols on upset alert. How about that? Jimbo Fisher's back in the news, Lonzo. You'll be excited about this one.
Going to therapy?
Jimbo sat down with Greg Simmons of KSAT TV in San Antonio and claimed that of the 11 early enrollees in the number 1 recruiting class this year for the Aggies, he said only one of them has an NIL deal so far. Yeah, he said only one of them has an NIL deal so far. Here's my favorite part about this. Jimbo, how does shoe taste? Considering you can't stop putting your foot in your mouth. How does your shoe taste? Do you know why only one of 11 has an NIL deal on campus? Because the other 10 are just showing up. And you have to sign a contract to have NIL money coming in. What I would love to do is record Jimbo saying, only one of our first 11 on campus has an NIL deal. And then in a month when all 11 of them do, walk back and be like, hey, Jimbo, what happened? What happened, dude?
I'm curious about something. I just thought about this when you said that. Do coaches need to know about the NIL deals?
No, there's
because if supposedly it's has nothing to do with the school,
right?
Then why do they need to know?
Because it's a recruiting tool.
Yeah, but no, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
They're not involved in it at all.
Okay.
But again, it is a recruiting tool to say, come here and you will get more NIL money. That's not saying we can organize that for you. It's just saying it's on the table as a possibility. Texas A&M hands out $3 million in NIL deal money. Alabama hands out $1 million.
I'm just saying,
decision maker.
I think the way to handle it, since it's supposed to be an off-campus thing, is for a coach to say, hey, I don't know. I'm just worried about the players getting on the field and playing the game.
Somebody said, an Aggie fan rushing to the defense of Jimbo said, our projected win total is 8.5. And a Florida fan replied with, how much money did it cost you for that 0.5 game improvement from last year? Man, college football fans are the best. The absolute best. All right. We talked yesterday about the change in the playoff format, right? Change in the playoff format. And I realized something. I made a mistake yesterday. Which happens. Rarely, but it happens. So yesterday, I kept referring to it as a college football playoff. Lonzo, it is not. It is a conference championship, right? Let's just call it what it is. Let's not call it a college football playoff. Let's not call it anything other than what it is. It's a conference championship. That's it. I'm just letting you know it's falling off the wall.
Okay, because I thought, is there a monster back there? What is? I mean, the intensity of the point is like, oh my god! I'm about ready to die.
Listen, we have a stream with.
If I had looked to the right and at my screen, I would have saw it eventually.
We have a stream, and I have very high expectations for what the stream deserves to see.
So you want them to see my butt as I'm putting that back up. I mean, I respect that. I'm down with that. Okay.
I don't want it to fall off the wall and freak you out, man. Which it's on its way to do. Our banner's falling off the wall. That's what we're talking about. For those of you not watching the stream, which you could be, at Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, or search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. Anyway.
There, crisis averted. And you're welcome, stream. You know why.
Here's what somebody proposed to me yesterday. I was having a conversation yesterday evening with a couple of buddies who were listening to the show. And they said, Rob, let me ask you a question. Who owns the media rights to the Southeastern Conference right now? That would be the 4-letter, right? That would be ESPN. Who has been the predominant landscaping force in college football for the past decade and a half? I would argue it's been ESPN, right? So you have the nation's most powerful conference now in league with the most powerful outlet in college football. What happens if ESPN buys the rights to broadcast every game of the SEC Conference Championship Tournament and then starts referring to it as the National Championship? Right? Because they call it whatever the hell they want. What if they just start calling it the National Championship game? Could it happen, though, that it twists the arm of, let's say, FSU, Clemson, Miami, Georgia Tech, Ohio State, Michigan, to all trying to buy in if it is set up in a way that the SEC's conference tournament is a massive money getter, right? If it is drawing massive amounts of revenue, greater amounts of revenue than the tournament of whatever conferences are still left after this shift, if you're making more money as a school inside of the SEC Conference Championship tournament, could you see FSU and Clemson going, well, to hell with the ACC, let's see if we can go ahead and get in on that and grow that a little bit. You know, we've talked about for a while, Zoe, the concept of the NCAA going away, the NCAA being nomos, and the schools effectively creating their own NCAA. Lonzo, this just might be the way that we get there. I didn't think about it yesterday, but this might be the way that it gets there. The SEC Conference Tournament ends up raking in more money than whatever is left of the College Football National Championship playoffs. Some of the powerhouses look and they go, wait a minute. We make X much by playing in one game of the college football playoff. We would make X plus Y by playing in the SEC Conference Tournament. Let's go ahead and get over there, man. Let's go ahead and get over there.
You know, we did talk a little bit about how this could be a push for the NCAA to go ahead and expand the playoff, but at the same time, they've been stubborn, and they will look at this and go, it's a fluke. It's a passing thing. They'll change it back. You expect them to make changes right away? I don't. If SEC goes to this format and does that playoff, it would take the NCAA, 4 or 5 years before they decided to change it?
I don't know if they'd have the option. If you put the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma into one camp, and you put the rest of the nation, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and what will be left of the Big 12 into another playoff, I'm going to say the eyeballs are about 50-50.
Probably, but at the same time, when you're doing your rankings for the national championship game, are you taking the SEC out? You're taking the SEC out completely. So then you're taking some eyeballs off of the SEC and pointing it towards other places.
I mean, a chunk of that is going to be, I don't necessarily agree entirely. A chunk of that is going to be, does the SEC allow their conference tournament champion and runner-up to play in the playoffs, right? Or do they just go, no, we good, we got our own thing? Our champion is our champion, and that's the only champion we give a vote about.
Well, then you've added yet another possible two games on top of all the games you've added with the tournament.
But you're taking the two games of the current college football playoff off the table, right?
Not if you're saying the team is also eligible.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
so
gotcha,
you're
gotcha.
adding
Yeah.
possibly two more games
and the multi-millions of dollars that come with participating.
True, but the argument all along by a lot of people is that's too many games for the
Sure.
athletes.
They don't give a vote about that.
So
they never have.
So let's just say if the SEC championship, the tournament happens, all right, how many games do you have to win the SEC championship?
You'd have to win 3. The round of 8, the round of 4, and the round of 2.
And how many games do you have to win the national championship?
2.
Okay,
As
so
it is, you'd have to win 5 altogether.
So it's a total of 5 games, but you minus 2 because you would already include that in. So it would be you'd be adding 3 games if you're doing both. Okay, so as it is now, you're adding 2 games to your schedule.
Right.
If you don't have the SEC tournament,
I got you. Okay, so as of today, to win a title, you got to play 2 extra games.
right? But if you
Conference
add
championship, playoff game 1, national championship.
all right, so if you add the SEC championship tournament into that, you're adding some more. But then you minus the other ones because you're already counting those in. I'm talking about what is extra on top. So if you're Alabama, you count the SEC championship and you count the games that you would have to win. So
You have to win 3 of those.
right,
Right.
but now you're adding 3 more onto that,
No, you'd be adding 2 more.
2 more for the SEC championship.
So no, it'd be 3 for the SEC championship plus 2 for the college football playoff.
Right.
So you'd be adding 5 total games to Alabama's schedule. So they'd be
So-
playing 17 games.
But technically, it's just be adding 3.
from what they have today to win
Right.
a championship.
Right.
You'd be adding 3 more games to what they have to do today. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yes, correct. Sorry, I'm dumb. I get it. Yes,
No,
that is correct.
I just didn't explain it well.
No, I get what you're saying. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. You'd be adding a total of 3 more games to the current number of 14.
All right, so
Sorry,
if
nope, 13, 14, 15.
if the NCAA were to expand the playoffs like people want, how many? It's adding 1 extra game, right? So to what's already there.
Depends on
Now,
what plan you go with.
if it's 8,
Yeah.
it's 1 game. If
Which
it's-
I think 12 would be the number they pick, which would be adding 2.
there's a possibility of bye with.
It's a possibility for a bye, sure. Could go 12, 4 teams get a bye, or you go 16's the thought, or you go 16 and nobody gets a bye.
So let's think about this. What if the NCAA does expand the playoffs to 12 and the SEC goes with this plan also? Think of how many extra. It's like playing in
It's an
another
NFL
half
schedule.
season.
It's an NFL schedule.
It is.
It's an NFL schedule. So the question would be, does the SEC go, you know what? You guys, the rest of you guys, you go play your cute little playoff game. We know who the national champion is. It's the group that wins our conference, right? We win it every other damn year. It's the group that wins our conference. So there's one of 2 outcomes here. I think. There's one of 2 outcomes. Outcome number 1, Lonzo, is the SEC puts it, if they go with this conference tournament. Outcome number 1 is the SEC runs with this tournament and they make so much money that the Florida States and the Clemsons and the Ohio States and the Michigans of the world go, okay, we're in. We're in. We're now members of the Southeastern Conference. They change the name away from SEC and it becomes the new college football, whatever. And basically all your powerhouses are in it, right? USC joins it. Oregon joins it. Florida State, Clemson, Miami, Georgia Tech, maybe. But they all join it. And now what you have is a de facto 2 divisions of college football. You got all the powerhouses plus the underdogs of the SEC in one, and then you got whoever's left behind from the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, and the Pac-12 playing another division of football. The other option is the SEC does this and does not participate in the college football playoff. They're making buku dinero off of it, and the rest of the nation cuts ties, runs their own playoff, ends up with their own national champion. And then we have effectively the AP, where the media members are going to vote as to which one of those 2 teams is the better of the 2 and is your AP national champion. And then we go back to there's not really a national champion.
Well, there'll be a trophy for both.
Yeah.
I mean, so both will say they're national
Yeah,
champions.
but again, that means there's no national champion, right? There can only be one champion by definition. So kind of what's the point there? I don't know, man. Like I said, the whole point of this to me is, and for the record, we're talking ourselves through this just like you guys are, right? Like I've been thinking about this since we read it yesterday, and I've gone through 115 different possible scenarios about what happens if the conference championship figures itself out, right? If the SEC's conference championship figures itself out. Texter says, Lonzo, oh, bless your heart. Texter says Clemson would not join a super conference. There was a philosopher back in the day, Lonzo, and he had a great quote that this reminds me of. He said, everybody's got a price. Yes, Texter. Yes, they would. I know we all like to think that our school is the superior school to all the other schools. But if Clemson had the opportunity to stay in an ACC, which was robbed of FSU and Miami, who went to the SEC, and be the standard bearer of Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Wake Forest.
By the way, I think you're taking the text the wrong way.
Oh, you think he's being sarcastic?
Yes.
I don't think he is.
That Clemson wouldn't join the super conference because then they'd actually have competition. And if they did, they wouldn't be in the position that they're in every year. That's how I'm taking the text.
Maybe. I'll bite either way. Yes, they would. Because if they're left to be the standard bearer and playing in the ACC with NC State, Pitt, Syracuse, and Wake Forest, or they can join this new super conference and play college football there and get a lot more money, they're going to do that.
You said the key word there at the end, or words. It's about money.
Oh, yeah.
If there's a lot more money in it,
They're going to do that.
they will.
They're going to do that. Texture says maybe everyone that's not in the SEC should join forces like Voltron. First off, great reference. Do you see Soundwave in the front row of that movie we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good reference.
As long as it's the 4 lions and not or 5 lions, as long as it's not all those little bitty pieces, that Voltron, that was horrible.
Texture, by the way, says, I'm saying Clemson wouldn't join a super conference because Dabo don't like competition. So you were right. You got it. Fair enough. Look, it's a good effort for everybody to join forces like Voltron, but at the end of the day, the SEC is already Voltron. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Production quality is tight. Mother!
As happens quite a bit. I sit here and wonder, did I just not explain myself well enough? And I probably didn't because, south side of Columbus, public education. That's why. Hey, that thing came down again. Let me fix it. Maybe there's like an animal or a bug or something on the other side, or a ghost pushing the pin out.
So my buddy Josh is the PA announcer for the Blue Wahoos, the baseball affiliate down in Pensacola.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got hired for a new job that now I absolutely want to do. An attorney has hired him to come into court and read a transcript of an interview from a crime that was committed. I'm like, dude, that sounds like an awesome job.
I think it depends on the case. I mean, it could be fun, but if it's a real serious case and you're going in there, No, we talked about it on the air before. Remember, I've had the shot twice and I got out of it because I wore my work gear. And it's not that I wanted to get out of jury duty because I think it would be interesting and it's our civic duty and all that stuff. It's just that I had no backup.
All right. Got a job, Your Honor.
It's kind of like now. And it's like, man, we're in trouble if I get jury duty. And it was wild, though, because it was in Lawrence County, and I didn't know how many people actually listened in Lawrence County until afterwards when I stood up and said my name and said where I worked, and then had a couple people waiting for me afterwards wanting to talk politics, which, as you know,
you're a big fan.
I really enjoy doing that. So. In which I had to say, sorry, guys, I got to go to work. We were getting food before the show a couple of weeks ago over at a place across the street that we go to a lot.
Yep.
And the manager sat down and started talking to me, and I'm not in sports mind. I'm in
manager. I know.
Not him. The other one, the main one. Yep. And it took me a second before it finally clicked that he was talking about Kansas City, and I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm sitting there thinking like, what in the world? Oh, because I really do get out of the sports mind and into the other thing, and it's like, dude, you see what shirt I'm wearing? But it took me a second. I'm like, then he talked with Cameron for like a 45 minutes about Dungeons and Dragons. So, I mean, I'm
going to go to some sound here, if you don't mind, please, Lonzo. Slap it a bass! This sounds like the hold music, but of a really fun company, It sounds like the hold music when you call for a company that's like young and hip. Let me get clip number.
The fact that you said young and hip, I don't think that's I mean, it's like down and lit, not young and hip. I don't know what.
Well, I am not down or lit or hip anymore. I've made that realization. I just got to own it now.
Have you become sir yet? Excuse me, sir.
Mr. Brown was my father's name. No, I'm not that guy. I'm like young enough that when people call me sir, I'm not like offended by it, but I don't love it either, It's like, I mean.
I just say, get out of my way, kid.
Yeah. Get off my lawn. So, we told you earlier this week about the situation that played out between Tim Anderson and Josh Donaldson. And, Major League Baseball said we're going to do an investigation. And I gave them credit because I said, I'm glad that they went ahead and said we're going to open this up for an investigation as opposed to just rushing into calling Donaldson a racist and setting him down. Let's go find out if what he had to say to defend himself was true, right? He said, I've been calling that for years. I called him that when we played in Minnesota. I called him that when I played in Atlanta. It's never been a problem before. I've never had an issue with it. And now all of a sudden he's mad at me. I don't get it. Welp, Major League Baseball, and finally a reporter decided, maybe we should ask Tim Anderson if that is true. Now, I'm acknowledging that there's a better than 0% chance that Tim Anderson would, lie. But Major League Baseball talked to former players, former teammates, and Tim Anderson. Well, a reporter asked Tim Anderson if Donaldson has been using the name Jackie as a joke for any length of time, and TA said this.
Yeah, I think in 2019, he did say that, and I told him that, we don't ever have to talk again. I want to speak to you, want to speak to me, if that's how you're going to refer to me. So I know he knew, exactly what he was doing, because I already told him. But yeah, he go to Minnesota, 2 or 3 years, and don't say nothing to me, because I already addressed it. And we get into it, me sliding back, so I push him off me. So what? And, he felt the need to, say it again, but, he was trying to provoke me, and he knew what he was doing.
So there you go. He said back in 2019, which is when the interview happened, he called me Jackie. And I said, hey, man, if you're going to call me that, we don't have to talk. All right? Told him, if that's how you want to refer to me, if that's how you want to talk about me, we don't have to talk. We'll just let it be. Which is fine, right? It's fine. He said, hey, look, I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. If you're going to stop, we can be cool. If not, we don't have to talk. Said he went to Minnesota, did not talk to me. We did not have any interaction. We didn't go back and forth. Then we play each other. He lays the hard tag that takes me off the bag last weekend. He calls me Jackie this weekend. And then Yasmani Grandal, the catcher for the White Sox, who, by the way, clip number 2A, if you don't mind, Alonzo. Yasmani Grandal, who was the guy that got into Donaldson's face behind the plate that started that brawl last weekend, got asked, why? Why? If this was a thing between TA and Josh Donaldson, why'd you need to get into Donaldson's face? And here's what Grandal had to say.
As I told Timmy once I was on the mound and everything was trying to get settled in, I said, if I get thrown out of this game, I get thrown out of this game, but I need you in this game, so I need you to calm down, and I need you to, take over pretty much, because we know he can take over a game.
You were prepared to be thrown out?
I was 100% prepared to be thrown out. I told Reese, I said, hey, get ready, because I don't know what's going to happen.
This was before you confronted Donaldson.
And it just so happens that nobody got thrown out, but that wasn't the point. I was ready to make sure we got the point across.
So Yasmani Grandal said, look, I knew there was a problem. I knew what he was saying. I knew what he was doing. He knew what he was saying. Knew what he was doing. And I was ready to get bounced if I needed to. I was ready to get tossed if that's what I needed to do, to make sure that he knew what he was doing and saying to TA, my guy, my superstar, was not appreciated. And I told my manager, I told my backup catcher, be ready, because I might get yanked. And I went after him. The fact that, now listen, I will say this. I have been in situations in the past where Buddy A says something to Buddy B that Buddy B is like, oh yeah, that's a lifelong running joke. And then bystander A overhears it and is like, hey, dude, not cool, man, not appropriate. Not cool, not appropriate. And then Buddy A has to let Buddy B jump in and go, no, man, it's cool, man. He's my guy. It's an inside joke. It's a joke that's been running for a while. To get bystander A out. And even then, you have to understand that some things that you say, even if they are a joke, even if it is a throwaway line between you and your boy, can still be offensive to other people, even if your one guy is cool with it, right? Just because your guy is cool with you making fun of him for this thing does not mean that other people who have the same situation are cool with the joke. So even if there was that line there, if Grandal did not know that it was a joke between TA and Josh Danielson, then he might have stood up and gone, hey, man, I heard what you called my dog. I'm not cool with that. Knock it off or we can go. And Donaldson, by the way, not the type of guy who's afraid to back away from a go. He will not back down from a scrap. He was the one, I don't know if you ever heard or remembered this story. There was a story a couple of years ago where Lucas Giolito, who is a pitcher for the White Sox, this was last year. Lucas Giolito, a pitcher for the White Sox, got into it with Josh Donaldson Josh Donaldson was criticized by Lucas Giolito because Giolito is he's a hot topic guy, right? Here's what happened basically. Last year, the sticky substance checks came into play in Major League Baseball. Lucas Giolito, for the next week or two, did not pitch well. In a game against the Twins, Josh Donaldson took Lucas Giolito yard. He yelled at Giolito, "It's not sticky anymore." Basically saying, hey, dude, you've been cheating, right? You've been using the sticky stuff. You can't do it anymore. Now you suck. I got you. Giolito responded after the game when asked about the comment from Donaldson by saying, he's a blanking pest. That's a classless move. If he wants to talk, say it to my face. Well, he did, Lonzo, because Josh Donaldson heard that comment in the stadium and ran Lucas Giolito down into the parking lot at the baseball field to say something to his face. Donaldson said he didn't really have much to say in the parking lot. He said that he thought I was annoying. I said, so what? I'm on the opposing team. What do you care about me? I said, I'm in your face. I'm telling you what I think. What have you got to say about that? And he didn't have a response because Donaldson is the guy that will fight you in the parking lot. By the way, the night after the next game, he showed up in a t-shirt that said, you got something to say, ? My guy is a crazy person, right? So you combine the fact that he's willing to chase other ball players down to the parking lot to scrap. You combine TA saying, yeah, no, he's never called me that. He called me that once in 2019. I told him, nope, not cool, man. Don't do that again. And he hasn't talked to me since then. And then he randomly called it after we had an altercation on the base pass at third base. Yeah, I got a problem with that. You got Grandal coming out and saying TA was heated, and the reason I got in his face was I told TA, look, we need you in this game. Your bat is important. You are a slugger. If I'm out, we got other guys that can do what I do. Nobody can do what Tim Anderson can do. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell him chill. I'm going to tell him back down. We both know that Donaldson is the dude that will throw down on a baseball diamond. So let me do it. Let me say it. If he swings at me, great. We both get bounced. If he doesn't, he gets your message and you're not at risk. Long story short, Josh Donaldson, according to TA and apparently according to Major League Baseball, has not, as he claimed, been calling TA Jackie for 3 years now. He has not been boys with TA. TA has said, we were not boys. We did not talk. He did not call me that. So no, that's not a thing. And then MLB went, all right, cool. Then you're out. Now, you'll notice they sent down the suspension for inappropriate comments. I think baseball was smart. They did not label him racist. They did not say Josh Donaldson was racist. They did not say the comments were racist. They said the comments were inappropriate. I think we all get the gist of what Major League Baseball is saying. I think we all have the understanding of what they mean with a one-game suspension for inappropriate comments. Right? Because calling him Jackie, what else would be inappropriate about it if it wasn't racial? But Major League Baseball said, yo, let's not throw that in there. Let's not throw that card down. Let's just let him know this is a problem. Let's let MLB know this is a problem. Let's let the players know this is a problem. And hopefully this is enough to curtail. And if it happens again, we bring the band hammer down harder. I think baseball handled this the right way. They talked to TA. He said, nope, not been calling me that for years. They talked to Grandal. He said, yep, TA was heated about it well before that. I just spoke up for him. And they talked to other players in the league who said, at least, I don't know exactly what they said, but it certainly sounds like they said we hadn't heard it. And they slapped him down for a game. I think baseball handled this about as well as you could ask for them to handle it. Let's take a break, come back, wrap up this show with Twitter trending topics on the way out the door. I'm Rob, he's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. The Rob Brown Show's on the Fan Upstate. How do we feel about this? I'm gonna see it, but how do we feel about it? one more Jurassic Park with Dr. Grant, Dr. Sadler, and Jeff
Well,
Goldblum.
despite all your negativity, I'm looking forward to it
ya?
because every time you see the trailer, it just bothers you.
Here's
Because you don't like Pratt's portrayal.
No. I like Chris Pratt. I'll tell you that what I have the problem with this movie. And it can't be fixed other than just not making the movies. The problem is Jurassic Park was a monumental movie to me, right? Like, as a youngster, Jurassic Park, you know when...
was your Star Wars?
Yes. You know how people say, like, the movies are...
As your Star Wars, it's like being offended by the prequels.
Kind of.
No, I'm talking about the mentality.
Yeah. So you know how when people talk about the movies, they talk about how they have that movie or those couple of movies that like made them feel. That was Jurassic Park for me. I was a huge dinosaur kid growing up. I'm still a dinosaur guy. And the first time we saw the raptor, or the first time we saw that T-Rex head stick up over the fence, right? Like I felt something because I got to see magic. It was amazing. And now they have
the effects at the time were
spectacular.
Yeah,
they were real, man. Like those dinosaurs were real. I know they're movie real, but that T-Rex was real, man. Now
also makes you never want to ride in the back of a Jeep.
Must go faster. Now they are basically turning them into let's have B monster movies with A-list stars. And because they had started to slow down, because it's like, all right, cool, we've seen the raptor eat somebody over and over. Do we need another movie of raptors eating people? Now they're going to go and they're going to grab Dr. Grant, Dr. Sattler, and Jeff Goldblum and be like, hey, remember when these guys were with the dinosaurs? Now they're back. Why have they not been involved in the 30 years since Jurassic Park?
Goldblum was in the last one.
He was in Jurassic World. He was like in a cameo role.
Yeah, he was. He was like as a speaker for something. So it isn't unprecedented. Would you be okay if they just kill everybody off?
I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that.
Except for Goldblum. He needs to survive. Everybody else, See, I see a movie like that, and I think that's another movie I want to see in IMAX. Because I want to see the dinosaurs look huge on the screen. And I know how it sounds, but I don't care about plot as much on a movie like that. I mean, it can't be completely stupid, but it's like watching monster movies back in the 80s, watching slasher movies back in the 80s.
Yeah.
It became about, or watching a John Wick movie now. It's what's the most clever way someone meets their demise.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have thoroughly enjoyed all the different ways in which people have been offed by dinosaurs over the years. I'm all for it. I don't know. I just feel like it's a...
I want to know if the kids are going to show up from the first Jurassic Park. That's what I want to know.
I mean, if you're going to keep one quiet secret, that's the one, right?
Yeah, that would be... Would you recognize them, though? Are they even still alive? I don't know.
I know the girl is. I know the girl's, and I know she's done some other stuff. Let's see.
Wow, she looks old.
The kid from Jurassic Park. Let's see.
Yeah, the girl looks old.
The Tim, the boy, played Dustin Muscovitz in the Facebook movie. He also played John Deacon, the bassist of Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody.
Never saw that. So.
It's a good movie.
I heard most people didn't like it. So.
It's a good movie unless you're a Queen fan, because it is a bad Queen story. It is inaccurate. It is chronologically incorrect. They do this whole thing about Queen never broke up. Like, they did this whole thing about Freddie leaving the band and Queen never broke up. Freddie just did solo stuff. And by the way, so did Brian May and John Deacon. They all did solo stuff.
All right, time for Twitter trending topics, where I tell Rob what is trending, and he will tell us why. The first thing that's trending is Jadeveon Clowney.
The Clown Show is back in C-Town. He signed a big old fat stat contract with the Browns to come back for one more time again. I'm assuming that he's still trending 2 days later because of that, or are we at the point now
He
where
officially signed it today.
Okay, officially signed. So he is now officially a Cleveland Brown once again.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, the next thing that's trending is Cam Newton.
Oof. Cam is still unsigned, question mark? Like, we're at the point now where a bunch of teams that have either a questionable starter or no backup quarterback are going to start talking about Cam. Now, Cam said a couple of weeks ago that he's kind of hit the point where he's fine being a backup if that's what it takes to win, right? And I think Cam knows, look, in the NFL, a lot of quarterbacks get hurt. A lot of quarterbacks get hurt. So I'll go back up. Maybe I'll get the shot. Question mark, obviously, is going to be here, as we have asked a number of times, would the Panthers go one more with him?
Well, that is the rumor. That's why so a rumor is trending.
There's a rumor going around that something's going down.
That he's coming back to the Panthers.
Yeah, that seems to hit about once a month,
Well,
right?
yeah, but for some reason it's trending a bunch today. I don't know why.
All it takes is one Ian Rappaport or one Mary Kay Cabot to throw out the speculation, and it goes from speculation to full head of steam rumor. I had to tell you. No, scratch that. I got to ask you, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. Cam or Baker, who you want if you're the Panthers, Lonzo?
I really am a big Cam Newton fan, but right now I'm probably going with Baker.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
All right, the next thing that's trending is Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff? Like,
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, look up Hillary Duff. Just do it, and you should see right away why she's trending.
Oh, this is Okay.
Are you seeing a picture?
The first thing that comes up for me, Lonzo, and this is why I get in trouble because I listen to you, is Hillary Duff always had butt, with pictures of Hillary Duff's butt.
Right. Well, there's a picture of her in jeans, and it's trending because of it. You don't see.
I got it now.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go. That's why she's trending.
Gotcha. 10-4. Twitter's a bad place.
And people are just, retweeting that over
Twitter
and over
is a
again.
bad place that no one should be. That no one should ever be in.
You see a celebrity trending, you're like, I wonder why is oh, okay.
Birthday, COVID, dead. Those are the three.
No, there's 4. But.
Birthday, COVID, dead, but. Here's the problem. I'm not going to talk about Hillary Duff's derriere because Hillary Duff was a child 2 years ago. Right?
No, she wasn't.
In my time span, she was.
She's probably like a little bit younger than
Lizzie
you.
McGuire aired yesterday. And now you're I gotta take a shower. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Thanks for listening. I hope you had a good time. We'll be back tomorrow to try harder. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Hillary Duff has a kid?
Yeah.
Really?
She's older than you think she is.
Oh, my Google search is going to be a mess after today. How old is Hillary Duff? She's 34.
I told you she's just a little bit younger than you.
My goodness.
When you reach a certain age, you start
Everybody-
time
yeah.
becomes something different
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. Well, ouch.
Does that make you feel older to know that she's 34? And we leave you stream with the epiphany that Rob realizes that he's old.